Hey, hi, hello. My name is Emily, and thanks so much for hanging out with us on the Today Needs You podcast. This is where we have the chance to chat about all the things, from feelings and friendships to our favorite sneakers and our favorite Bible verses. We're going to tackle it all. I'm super pumped about today's episode, so let's dive in together.
Hi, happy Tuesday. I am so excited about our topic today that was sent in. The question was, how do I be a Christian without seeming weird? And I love that question so much. So we are going to dive right in and talk about how to navigate the world that we live in and how to make friends and go to school and participate in activities and all of that good stuff without seeming weird. And I will say the answer is a little complicated because there's definitely some weirdness, but I wanted to define weird because you guys know, if you've listened for any period of time, I am a definition person. I love definitions. I love information. So I'm like, help me make sure I'm seeing this accurately. Weird can often get used with a negative connotation or a bad feeling. People scrunch their nose and don't want to do that. What I love is looking at definitions. When looking at it, the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines weird as of strange or extraordinary character. So it can mean odd or quirky or peculiar, but it can also mean fantastic, unbelievable, excellent. So part of me, we're going to talk about two things here. One is changing the way we view weirdness, and I think seeing it more as fantastic and excellent as opposed to odd and peculiar, because I think sometimes that can just make us feel like it's bad or wrong. When I think being fantastic and seeming fantastic is a cool thing. And I hope that that is something that you are willing to, I hope that's something you're willing to explore when feeling weird for being a Christian. It is living a Christian life and making choices based on the Bible, a relationship with Jesus, living a life hopeful for the future, knowing that right now is a very teeny tiny piece of eternal life that we get when we step into a relationship with Jesus. And I think when we see things that way, when we see things differently, it's going to cause us to be different, or it's going to result in our being different. And that can be hard sometimes, but I think I want to give you some encouragement and some tools when struggling with feeling weird, because you are going to go to church or you are going to say no to some decisions that other people are making, or say yes to some things that people want nothing to do with. And it is in our human nature to want to fit in and to not want to stand out and to blend in sometimes, but get attention and credit other times. When we step into a relationship with Jesus, the Bible talks about how Jesus is light in the darkness. And when Jesus is in our hearts and when we are in that relationship, we become a reflection of that light. And so by definition, there's going to be some contrast between us and people who see things differently and who believe different things. I think there's a difference between being a Christian who's pegged as a weirdo and being different because you're a Christian. So there are some practical things I want to talk about because sometimes we do come across weird. And that's, depending on the situation, sometimes we need to step back. But other times we can lean in and know that we are called to, God tells us to love everyone and be kind. I think a huge way you're going to stick out is if you are kind no matter what, if you are caring toward others, and if you don't get caught up in the drama and hustle and bustle and craziness that has everyone running a million miles an hour. If you're focused on being kind to people and living a full life that's in store for you and hoping that for others, you're gonna stand out. You're gonna make different decisions because you are living a life toward the fullness that God has for each and every one of us, instead of just living moment by moment. Or the biggest example I can think of is, okay, yes, this may be something my parents don't want me to do, but what's the big deal? Like, it can't be that big of a deal. But knowing, oh, I'm living a life to live a full life, to live a big life. And so I'm going to trust that what God says to do and not to do is going to set me up for success, is going to set me up for a win. And same with my parents. And I'm going to trust that because I know that there's a bigger picture than what I'm seeing. But I think when loving others, one way Christians can seem weird is by trying to make a statement or trying to make a point when doing things differently because of their beliefs. As a Christian, I've followed Jesus actively for a long time, since I was 7. And I've made first of all, I have not done that perfectly by any means. Second of all, I have tried the path of, waving a big flag and I'm going to be different, everyone get over it. And that didn't go so great. But I've also lived where it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to make different choices. It's not a big deal. The people around me ultimately don't really care. Even if they think they care, they're going to forget about it. It's not the end of the world for me. And I'm going to be able to go home and confidently tell my parents, hey, these are the choices I made today. And it was hard, but I'm proud of myself. And I'm building the muscle of willpower and of strength to be different, but also relate to people as people. Thanks so much for listening while we're just getting started. If you want to stay plugged into this community,
Like, subscribe, and let us know what you'd like to hear more about, who you would like to hear from by shooting us an email at info@allthethings.community.